Roger Stone here. Every day you wait, your money loses value, but gold and silver don't follow those same rules. American Sovereign Bullion gives you access to a nationwide wholesaler network, helping you secure aggressive pricing on real physical metals. Call 844-272-2428 now to get your free gold and silver guide to learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver, delivered right to your door or with a gold IRA. Visit asbgold.com. That's asbgold.com for your free gold and silver guide today.
Katz and Cosby on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We have the former governor of Illinois, one of our favorites, John.
And he should be governor again. He was a better governor than what we had.
Oh, my goodness. We really need him back in America. Rod Blagojevich, we wish you were there. My goodness, in Illinois. And, Governor, it's so great to have you. You know, I wish it was under better circumstances. The huge funeral today for this cop, this heroic cop, Chicago police officer John Bartholomew, laid to rest today. And I was watching some of it. I mean, outpouring of support. So many different departments from around the world came in to show support for this guy. And the other one is fighting for his life, the other cop, all because of this horrible career criminal. I can't believe this guy was out and then kills a cop. Tell us, like, just how the system really, this is soft on crime personified.
Well, this is the result of the Democratic leadership in Illinois these days. It wasn't like that when I was governor. But this is Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson, and before that, Lori Lightfoot. Less so her, frankly, more them. This is the Safety Act and no bail laws. This is the new effort by the Democratic Party to have more social workers and less police officers and defund the police. All of this wrapped in to this terrible tragedy. My prayers go out to Officer Bartholomew, his family. This was at Swedish Covered Hospital, which is a mile and a half from where I live. I run by that hospital sometimes, and I think about this officer. I think about 9/11. When I think about police officers and what they do, how they serve us, I think about the firefighters and 9/11 and the police officers when they were running up those buildings, trying to help people come out of those buildings, and so many of them lost their lives. The Democratic Party what they've done to the police is really disgraceful, and they don't have the backs of the police. They make the police the villains. And this guy, as a 7-time convicted felon with a decade-long criminal history, he was arrested for on an outstanding warrant for escaping electronic monitoring. Carjacked a woman at gunpoint in 2025. What is he doing on the streets? But this isn't an isolated case. There's something like 72,000 people in Cook County and in the Chicagoland area who are walking around with warrants, with outstanding warrants. So there's a reason why there's more than a murder a day in Chicago. There's a reason why Chicago is the crime capital of the world. And the blame lies not just with the perpetrators, certainly them, but with the leaders that we have here, Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson and these crazy left-wing anti-police Democrats.
Yeah, the judge who let him out. We have a good judge here, Judge Weinberg.
Governor, good to talk to you again, sir. So you have the other aspect. You have the sanctuary city mentality, and you had that poor college girl who's minding her own business, and some idiot politician in Chicago said she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And the parents have come out and said the person who was in the wrong place at the wrong time was an illegal migrant with a violent history that was in the United States of America. Your thoughts, Governor? And why don't the people of Chicago and Illinois rise up against this terrorism?
Right. Well, to answer your first question, Judge, and too bad you weren't here as a judge at Cook County. We sure could use you. But the answer is there's 1.4 million or more criminals who broke into our country illegally. 14 million broke in. 10 to 15% of them are criminals. Most of them violent criminals. And this guy who killed Sheridan Gorman was one of them. And, I've said before, and I'll say it again, I believe he was there as a gangbanger on a gang initiation. This poor young girl was there at the beach where my daughters have walked, because this is in areas where I live, so I know this very well. And it would have never happened if our borders weren't secure. But the Democratic Party has decided to side with illegal immigration. This is their new politics, irrespective of the fact that over 1 million of those people that are crashing into our country are violent criminals and threats and dangers to the public safety of Americans. With regard to, what we can do about that, you got to throw these people out of office. And why is it that the voters of Chicago and Illinois continue to vote for some of these people? A lot of it has to do with they're not informed, they're misled, superficial politics, and unfortunately the Democrats in Chicago and in Illinois have controlled so much of the politics in our state for so long that it's very hard for any kind of loyal opposition to try to fight against them and have the resources to do it. But I think the more that this sort of stuff happens, I think more and more people are waking up.
Well, we have another common sense former Democratic governor, Governor Patterson.
How are you today, Governor?
It's always a pleasure talking to you, Governor. I can't wait to meet you.
All right. Well, I assumed exactly what you just said, that people are so forlorn based on these circumstances. But it would seem to me that at a certain point, maybe, people like yourself and some of the people that you work with might want to sit down and talk about a way to try to stop this, because if somebody doesn't, it's just going to multiply.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Governor. And I think I'm the perfect person for that. And I say this because of my not altogether uneventful life experience. I grew up in a kind of a rough and tumble neighborhood in Chicago. I kind of know, a little bit, had some experience with guys who I knew who were gangbangers. I was in prison for 8 years for politics, not for crimes. I was in there with murderers, Crips and Bloods, gangster disciples, gangbangers. I was a Cook County prosecutor. I was a Democrat governor, Democratic congressman. I do believe the criminal justice system is broken. I do believe weaponization of lawfare is the greatest constitutional crisis in American history. And I do believe our criminal justice system has historically been racist. I believe all of those things. But I also believe that you ought to impose common sense on the system. And too much politics has given us laws that take away the discretion of judges, that insist that prosecutors have to pursue certain things when every single case is different. We have to get back to a situation where we judge cases on a case-by-case basis, recognizing first and foremost the responsibility is to keep the public safe. And that means if you're going to err on the side of one way or the other, you err on the side of safety, not on the side of leniency.
Send me a ticket, Governor. I'll come and help you.
Hey.
Yes. I feel like, in all seriousness, Governor Patterson, I do believe I should do more on this. And, I'm active now with an organization called Weaponization Watch, run by a woman named Cynthia Hughes. It's a piece of what, I think I must do. I have to be involved in organizations like Cut 50, who are sort of left of center, but they're very much into criminal justice reform, because there's so much wrong with the other side of that. And the problem is that so much wrong has happened on the hard on crime perspective that it's clouded the judgment of most people. And they don't understand that, yes, there's abuses on the law enforcement side, but they pale in comparison to the threat that comes from those on the criminal side. I live with them for 8 years. I know how they are. A lot of these guys aren't bad guys, but they're wired to basically look at and see when the cat's not around, the mice play. You know what I'm saying? Or what is it saying? Right?
Thank you so much for calling in. I got to go into another interview. I got Senator Kramer calling in from North Dakota. And, Rod, we're going to keep fighting on your side until we can run you for governor again.
And you got to stay more involved, too, Governor. I mean, what you just said is so important. Bravo.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, Governor. See you, John.
Thanks for listening to Katz and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. You can hear Katz and Cosby weekdays at 5. It's the 5 o'clock show on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.